Welcome everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this footprint chart in Sierrachart. And before the tutorial begins, I want to remind you that this is just a tutorial video on how to make the chart and not on how to use it in your trading. So with that being said, let's begin. Alright everyone, so let's get straight to the tutorial now. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that all the charts I make and use are made with advanced features. So you're going to have to purchase at least the service package 5, which is currently $36 a month. And before you say that, it's too expensive and it's supposed to be free and all that, I'm here to tell you that if you want to use the high-end tools during trading, you're going to have to pay, and Sierrachart is probably the best charting platform in the markets. So for me, I believe that this is actually quite a fair price. So with that being said, let us begin. Now, in this series, we have already made 2 different charts. This is the depth of market. I have a video about this. If you're interested, I suggest that you go watch that one. And in the last video, we made a market profile chart, which is right here. Also, I suggest that you go watch that video as well. Today, we will be making the footprint chart. And before we begin, I highly recommend that you put the speed to either 1.15 or 1.25. There's going to be a lot of talking during this video, so that's how you get by it quicker. This is probably gonna be quite a long video for both of us. So before you open a chart, before we open the chart, I recommend that you make a new chart book and then you save as, give it some nice name. Mine is for vids, this is for videos, and now we're going to open the actual chart. So we go to find symbol, and then in this screen you'll want to find whatever you trade. So for me it's already selected the MES, and you want to make sure that you're taking the newest contract as well. And then we open an intraday chart. Okay, then quickly, we're going to actually add the footprint here first. So you come to analysis and studies, and then we want to add the numbers bars. So scroll down to N. You can also type numbers. I'm just going to scroll. There we go. So add and just press apply for now. And then we're going to take the numbers bars calculated values, also add, apply. And then lastly, we're going to add volume by price. So there we go. Add and apply. Now, okay. Now this looks very, very messy and kind of ugly right now, and it's going to look quite ugly for a while, so just bear with me. So now we have all of the things we want to have on the chart, and just lastly, we want to come to global settings and the graphic settings global. And what you want to do here is this scale border. So you want to make this black so you can see the border here and here, and that's about it. Then after that we want to come to window and detach. So this is not connected to the background here, and then I'll just make it so cool. And now we can actually begin looking at the chart. So come back to chart and graphic settings. you want to take global off, and then you want to last trade price box. This one is going to be black, and the foreground is going to be white. So now we can actually see when price is moving. Then we come to chart settings and data limiting, and this is what we're going to change first. So the number of days we load, and I like to have this at 10. There's no need for anything more than that when it comes to a footprint chart. Bar period, right? This is actually the important part here now, so pay attention. All right, now here are the different bar types, and there are many different bar types, and I will make a future video about that. For footprint charts, I like to have mine as range, so range per bar and standard in ticks. Now you can make a footprint chart based on time or volume or a Renko. I think Renko is actually the best one. I just don't know how to make that specifically, so I'm going to make it in ticks or the range because that's what I'm familiar with. But I think range is better than basically volume or time. Again, I'm going to make a future video about that, so stay tuned for that. So we've taken the range per bar and it's in ticks. So the base period value is going to be 10. So this is going to be 2.5 points. Okay, 1 point is 4 ticks. So it's going to be 2.5 points. Then we have the graph draw type, and I like to have this as candlestick bars. All right. Then we come to session times, and here we're just going to make 2 changes. Now I like to have this be a 24-hour chart, so I'm just going to change the times slightly. Where's my mouse? There it is. So you can just copy my my numbers here, and we want to click the evening session off, just like that. So now the chart is basically 24 hours display, and here we have the lock fill space. This is very important as well. So I'm going to show you how this works. Basically, when you click the chart, and I'm pressing the right arrow now, so I'm adding space between the price and the last footprint, and I'm going to leave it like that for now. We will change that setting multiple times during this video, but once you've done that, you want to press here and yes. Now once you press the right arrow, it won't move any further. And lastly, we want to change the name here. So this is going to be a footprint, and then I'm writing the symbol, so MES, and we want to click here yes. Just lastly, coming back to chart drawings, now we have a setting which I talked about in a previous video, but I didn't get the chance to actually use it. So this is the market profile chart which we made in the last video, and as you can see here, we have the number 1. So this is the first chart in this chart book. Okay, so we have number 1 here, and if we put here in this box number 1 and we press apply, and then we make a drawing in this chart, right, like so, you can see that it copied here. So if you are using the market profile chart to make drawings and to mark things, I highly recommend that you use this setting in this chart. Okay, so again, going back, it's in the chart drawings, and right here, copy chart drawings from chart, and hashtag is the number, and it's 1. Now I'm going to leave this off for now because it might confuse. It might be a bit confusing. Okay, so just lastly, before we start to actually do the important settings, you want to right click in the price here and put this at constant range. Okay, so it doesn't move in an annoying way. And then you see this black thing here. I'm right click and take it down. And right now I'm going to make the chart into the kind of the size which I like to look at it. So when we start to change the settings, it's going to look like, then we don't have to adjust it too much anymore. So I'm going to bring this much closer here, and we're going to make this much like bigger. And then I'm going to go 1 space back. So I'm pressing the left arrow just so it doesn't keep updating. So when we change the settings, it doesn't keep moving and confusing us anymore. So now we are in the past, and you can see here the red box, which means that it's not live. And then we come to studies, right? Just going to have that there, okay? And we're going to start with the numbers bar settings. All right, I'll have that right there so you can see what we are changing. This is the hard part, or this is the long part. Column 1, numbers bars text, and we want to change this to bid vol x ask vol. So now we have the bid volume on the left and the ask volume on the right, just as we have on the depth of market. Column 1 background type, don't change. Column 1 background coloring method, none, transparent. All right. Column 1 text coloring method, and here we want to take based on diagonal dominant side ask vol bid vol percentage. So this one, right? Make sure it's the diagonal one and not the dominant side. Okay, it's very important. And not at price or at bar range. It's very important that it's this one, based on diagonal dominant side ask vol bid vol percentage. So if you don't know how that works, I might make a future video about the footprint, so that'll explain that. This is not a video about how to use this, just how to make it. So I'm going to make every color here gray except the first and the last. All right, so this will be gray, this will be gray. Oh shit. Okay, so now I made everything gray except the first and the last. Then we have the column 2 numbers bars text, and this is going to be, so we have ask vol bid vol difference, this one, and then column 2 background type, we want this to be ask bid difference profile. So this one, and then this one will want to change to, and this one will want to change to based on ask vol bid vol percentage. And there's a lot of settings here. Make sure you don't get confused, okay? You want to take exactly what I'm taking, otherwise you're going to get a different result. Now, you can see what this one did here. It changed some of the, like it made these little bars here. So I'm going to make it slightly bigger already. And you see we've run into a problem now. So now I need to change the lock fill space because now we're too far from the part. So I'm going to change that right away. And yeah, I told you that we might have to do that a few times during this video. So now that's slightly better, and I'm going to go back one place again. Coming back to the studies again, and I'm just going to have this here. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So we have the numbers bar text here, which is, so this is the column 2 here. Okay, column 1 is in the middle, and column 2 is now on the right. So we have ask vol bid vol difference. So this is technically the delta, all right? Delta from each level. And the background type is a profile, okay? Now, if we make it ask bid volume split profile, you can see that it comes on both sides. This is an option which you can do. However, I find this kind of confusing, so I don't use this. I just need the one side, the more dominant side, okay? So it was this one, ask bid difference profile. You also have the outline. You could use that one, but it's not as clear, right? When you're using the footprint, you're looking for entries in the market, so you want it to be as clear as possible. And this one is very clear, right? You can see green, you can see green, you can see green, you can see red. It's not colored on both sides. Only the most dominant side gets colored because it's based on the ask vol bid vol percentage, okay? Now, if you accidentally take a different setting from here, then it's going to show you a completely different thing. You could take based on volume percentage, trades percentage, but none of this really matters. We're looking for the more dominant side when we are looking for this. All right, so we are done with that part. You also have here, you could do something here. You don't need to, so this is just none. Then we scroll all the way down to M. We have maximum highlight line width, or sorry, maximum highlight color. So this is a setting which you can use. I don't use this, but we have the maximum highlight color. And if we put the highlight maximum value in column, let's say 1, you can see that some of the numbers become yellow because that's the maximum. Now, I don't use this one, so I don't have it on, but it's worth to mention. Also here we have the point of control, right? You can also put this one on. It does the same thing. You don't need those, so I don't have them on, but you can put them on. This is something I do have on. So we have open and close marker style. And this one I like to have, and you have two options here. You have candlestick body outline. And let's actually put that on. So you want to put place open marker boxes in, place close marker boxes or marker in, and then you want to put both at column 1. So now you can very barely see the boxes there. Let's just change the colors quickly. So you have open marker up box color. This is going to be very bright green, and the other one, so the down box color, is going to be very bright red. So now you can see that better. And coming back to this one, open and close marker style. So here you have the outline, and here you have the candlestick outline. Now, I don't know if you can see the change. Perhaps you can, zoom in on your own screen so you can see the difference. So you can choose either one. I like to have mine at candlestick outline, so I'll choose that. Then we have numbers separator character, and this one I like to have at 2 spaces, so you can see that we're just making a little bit of space between the numbers there. Then we have font size mode, automatic with minimum and maximum limits, and I like to put both at 10, so you have the maximum and the minimum. We'll put both at 10, so it looks a little bit clearer in my opinion. We have column 1 actual compare thresholds. I don't know if these do anything, but I have all these at 0. I don't know if this setting does anything, but that's how I have it as. Then we have highlight non-zero bid ask at high-low in pullback. So this one, and this is at no. Okay. So this one, highlight non-zero bid ask at high-low in pullback. Then we have require 1 tick intraday data storage time unit. This is at no. And then we have spacing adjustment value. This is something you'll have to figure out yourself. I like to have at 20. So let's just go back. That's all the settings, by the way, for that part. So now we'll, oh shit, where did I go? So now we'll zoom in, right? When you zoom in, it's all the settings make sense, right? You can see previously that it was looking kind of weird, and don't worry about this one here. We'll come to that. And again, we have the same problem with the lock fill space. Now there's a little bit too much space there, so we'll come back to that setting again. I'm really sorry about this, but this is I think the best way to do this, because if I just leave the lock fill space at what it is, it looks very confusing. So let's just do this here. I think I'll try that for now. Hopefully we don't have to touch it again for the rest of the video. And we're going back 1 spot again, and then we'll come back to studies. All right, so a little change in the angle. I've actually finished the whole video, and looking back to it, I completely forgot one important setting. So we'll just quickly come back to the numbers bar setting here, and we're just missing one, but it's a very important one, which I noticed. Luckily, I noticed the setting is missing before publishing the video, and it's right here. So column 1% compare thresholds, and if you don't know what this is basically the imbalances that are showing here. And if you can see what the problem is here right now, if you know what imbalances are, so imbalances are the highlighted numbers here on the column 1, and the problem is that too many numbers are getting highlighted, and that's because the percentage is too low. So it's basically 0.75, so it's not even 100%. We're going to change this. Now the standard for an imbalance ratio is 400%, so you would write 4, okay? Now you could put 1.5 or 3.5. However, I like to have it as 3. You can put 4, you can put 3.5 or 3. This is like a personal preference. And so let's just quickly put it on. And now you can see we have a lot less of these imbalances. We actually don't have almost any. If we would put it maybe 4, you could see that now we don't have almost any imbalances anywhere. So let's put it at 3 for now. Now remember that all of these settings in this footprint are something you're going to have to kind of mess with. So you're going to have to look for the best settings for your individual preferences. So basically, this is just a tutorial on how to make a basic footprint chart. This is a professional chart, obviously, so it is a good one, but you're going to have to kind of, with time, make it your own. There's a lot here you can customize. So the delta is pretty much the same, and the volume profile here is optional. You don't really have to use that. You can if you want to, and I suggest you do, but I do have a different chart for a volume profile and the market profile. So this isn't really something I need. It's just kind of nice to have. But the delta here is really important, I would say. So the two things which are like must have in every good footprint is, number one, you need a clear footprint. You need to put the right settings, and it needs to be very clear. And then you need to have a well-made delta at the bottom. So those are really the two things you need. There's just one setting which I want to change. I hope I can find it actually. And you can see here that the colors that were once in like highlighted are now in this different color gray, which I don't like. So I'm just going to find a setting to change that, and then this video is done. All right, so I figured out what the problem was. So there's just two things we need to change. And then the first one is this. So if you want to remove the gray thing here, you have to actually make the base or the default color into gray. This one is the only way, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you can't just make every text be the same color. At least I just can't find the setting. Maybe there is a setting for that. I just can't find it. But this one I could find. So when you make everything the same gray, that works. However, for me, this doesn't really look good, honestly. It's too kind of, how do you say, like pale or thin, or you know, like that. Like I just can't really see the numbers. So I went to graphic settings here, and I looked at the fonts, and I found a font which works really well, and it is called Segoe U or UY. And then you take this one, so you make it boldened, right? And when you apply, it's very dark. So this is what I like. And so basically just copy what I did, and now the chart looks like pretty much perfect. So now that we've finished the footprint, I'll roll back the clip to me making the delta and the volume profile here. So you can watch that now. So we're coming back to the studies here, and now we'll do numbers bars, calculated values. So this is the delta, in other words, and it is down here. So the delta is down here, and that's what we're going to start changing now. There's a lot less settings now, so this will be much quicker. So you have the text background color. Now this can be anything you want, but I'm going to make this black, and this will make sense later. Right now it doesn't make any sense, but it will make sense later. Then we have color chart ground. Where's the C? Right there. Color background based on value percentage. We'll put this at yes, and you can see that it's already starting to make sense. So that's all the settings from this part. Now we come to the sub graphs, and this is going to be and the rest of the settings are here. We have the ask volume, bid volume difference, and this is the first one we'll change. So we want to change the color of this to white, and we want to change the name. Okay, so the name of this will be delta. This will be the delta because it's the difference between the bid and the ask volume, and that's what delta is. All right, then we have And by the way, when you change the color to white, you can see that that's already that's also changing there. Just going to make both of these white. I know it doesn't matter, but I like to do that. Then we have ask volume, bid volume difference change. Same thing, white. And you want to put here visible. This one will change the name to, this one's name will be delta change. All right, delta change. You can see we're adding stuff there. Then we have maximum ask volume, bid volume difference. Make it white again. And visible. And this is going to be max delta. All right. We have minimum ask volume, bid volume difference, white again. And visible. And this will be min delta. If you don't know what these are, you're going to have to learn. Unfortunately, this is not a teaching video, just a tutorial here. Then we have ask volume, bid volume difference percent, again white. Visible, rename to delta percentage. All right, so this is the difference of this is the percentage difference between delta or deltas, whatever. Again, if you don't understand what that means, I'm really sorry. I wish I could explain everything in one video, but unfortunately I can't. So those are all the things we need in our delta. Now there's a lot more things you can add. So this is the volume total. It basically shows how many trades were placed in each footprint. It's useful in certain types of footprint charts, but this one doesn't need it, so you don't need to put that. Positive delta sum, negative delta sum, don't need it. Ask volume, bid volume total, don't need that. Cumulative sum of ask volume delta cumulative sum of ask volume, bid volume difference, you don't need that. We have a cumulative chart that is or a cumulative volume chart that is different, so we don't need to have that here. Number of trades, basically the same as the volume, doesn't matter. Total volume, like you can see, there's a lot of things here which you can put, and I'm sure some of these are very good, but I just don't use them. So those are the 5 things I have in my delta. You can just take that off, and that's the delta actually finished now. So now we can make it slightly bigger. I think that's pretty good there. Now we just have the volume profile here to change, and then the video will be done finally. So that is this one here, volume by price visible bars. And I'll have this here for now. Come to settings and input or inputs. And the first setting we'll want to change is actually down here. So align to far right, and we want to put yes. And I know you can't see it right now, but just bear with me. I don't have much space on my screen, so I have to do it this way. So we have the ticks per volume bar. This needs to be 1 because each level here is 1, so it only makes sense for it to be 1. If it's 2, it doesn't make any sense. So here we have the volume graph period type, and just scroll all the way down. It's this one, trading day start time to end, reset at day session. Right? And you can see that now we can't even see it anymore. Actually, if I do this, I think we'll see it. No, we can't. Yeah, we can't see the volume profile right now. Don't worry, it'll come back to us, I guarantee it. I tested this tutorial or all the settings before I made this video, so it does work. Then we have maximum volume bar width type, and this one will be automatic. And we want the width percentage to be 5, and right align volume bars, yes. So there we have it. So there's the volume profile. It still looks ugly. We'll change that. Then we have always display last profile within view, yes. So value area POC peak and valley based on total volume, always. This needs to be no. And then we have bid volume and ask volume coloring method. We have none. So now you can see it's one color. It's much clearer and much cleaner this way. Then we have draw outline when coloring bid volume and ask volume. No. We have highlight point of control. We'll put this at yes. You can't see it right now, but it's there. And here you can extend it if you want, actually. End of period. Although this way, if you do it this way, then it'll go from right to left. But we don't have it on now, so it doesn't matter. Then we have volume bars draw method. And we'll put hollow volume bars. This one is something you can change yourself. I don't suggest using that. Hologram. So I think the only two ones which make sense is the filled and the hollow. I like to have it as hollow. It's much cleaner. And then we already put this setting on, so the align to far right. Yeah, then just lastly we have the point of control color here. You can put this at anything, it doesn't matter. I'll show you that it is here somewhere. Let's just make this so it's right there. So you can put that as anything you want, and that's actually it. The chart is ready. So you have the footprint, you have the delta, and you have the volume profile all in one chart. And by the way, this is the live market. It is delayed. I don't have live data, unfortunately, so it is delayed, but it is the live market, and you can see this thing in action live. And look how good it looks. Isn't this nice? It looks like it would be a good time to buy based on everything you see. Now, unfortunately, again, this is not a tutorial video on how to use this thing, so you'll have to figure it out on your own. And also I will make a future video about that later on, so stay in tune for that. And make sure to mess with the settings as you see fit. There's a lot of settings to change. I gave you the settings which I have learned to use, and I hope that you have found this video useful. And if you have, please subscribe and like the video and comment, and stay in tune for the future videos. So with that being said,